Okay, here we have a bull elk, Rocky Mountain bull elk, and we're going to do what's called fine tuning. This particular elk is going to be mounted in a bugling position. It's already been pickled, washed, and cleaned and neutralized. But what we have to do here is what's called fine tuning. In other words, we have to thin out the nasal membranes. The ears have already been turned and the nostrils have already been turned. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of meat and flesh on there. Now, my wife, Patricia, she's going to go ahead and start thinning this down. And again, the terminology we like to use here is fine tune. What that is, again, we're going to take all that meat and flesh you see right there on that nostril. We're going to thin that down. Okay, as you can see here, she's thinning down that nostril portion that was turned inside out, and you can see how she's drawing the knife across there to work the cartilage out, because all this has to go down into the form. Now the stick she's using is just simply a rounded dowel that has one end larger than the other, and it's tapered. And it works quite well on thinning nostrils and things of this nature, where you can actually work it in there like a miniature fleshing board or fleshing beam. Now, you don't need to use scalpels. You can use a sharp knife. Many people use a sharp knife, and that's the only thing they've ever used for years and years. Now, she has to do this on both nostrils. Each creature has two nostrils. It has to be thinned. And then the portion between the two nostrils, the actual nose pad itself, as you can see right there, that has to be thinned also. That's what we're doing there. Now, there are some people that are skilled enough on a machine, on a fleshing machine, to go ahead and do this portion between the nostrils, the actual nose pad. But if you ever make a mistake on a fleshing machine, in the facial area, it's usually very difficult to hide, or it will require a lot of rebuilding and reconstruction. So these areas are best to be done by hand and shaved thin. Notice how she's paring all this down. And then later, she'll do the lips, top and bottom. Now, this other little fleshing board or beam is simply a 2x4. It's cut, it's rounded on the top, and it works very well. You can see how everything fits on there. You can make yourself a variety of fleshing beams and boards to use in the taxidermy business. And you will need them, from tapered small ones to thicker ones to large beams that trappers and taxidermists and tanners use to go ahead and flesh down heavy hides and skins. Now you can see how she's paring that down. Notice the degree of tilt on the knife that she's using on the blade. She's actually shaving it. And yes, you do make mistakes and you do cut the skin. It's just that around the nose pad area, around the eye area, you just have to take your time, and if you make a mistake, oh well, you just have to fix it. You just try not to, but these things happen. And in a little while, she'll be going to the eye, and she'll be doing that. But you can see how nice everything's just paring down. But this is required. It doesn't make any difference what you're mounting. A deer, elk, moose, bear, sheep, cats, foxes, coyotes, raccoons, doesn't make any difference. This work must be done, and it must be done properly. Now, after this is done, since it's already been through the pickle, we can take two different methods and use them. Now, number one, it can be cream tanning, which I prefer in this particular instance, or we can go ahead and run it through a Lutan F-tan or some other tanning procedure. What the pickling does is that it helps set the hair and prevents the hair from slipping. It's a basic tanning step, so is salting, fleshing, and turning everything. But we've found over the years, we've been doing this here now for over 30 years, that the cream tan method works fine. It's quicker, we get more stretch, and the skin is actually tanned. We don't have to send it off to a tannery where we have to wait 6 months to a year or longer to get it back. We don't have to pay shipping charges on it. We are in total control of the skin itself. And this is very important for your clients and for yourself if it's your own personal animal. Now you also notice too that Patricia has gloves on. These are surgical gloves. They don't have to be surgical gloves. They can be any type of thin glove like this, either vinyl or latex. Just depends. Some people are allergic to latex. So the whole idea behind wearing gloves is to prevent any type of dirt contamination or disease cross-contamination from the animal if you're working on a fresh animal. Since this particular cape, and that is what we refer to this as a cape, it's already been through the pickle. And what that does is it pretty much kills almost all organisms. So there's not really a worry about that. But it helps keep the tanning smell down, the pickling smell down on your fingers. Keeps your skin from absorbing any of the tanning, pickling chemicals into your skin. It's easier to clean up. You basically can just go ahead and pull your gloves off, do a quick little wash on your hands, and they're perfectly 100% clean. Now she's working on the tear duct and eye area. Now you notice how she's being very careful that she doesn't get any of the hairs or eyelashes coming out. She's just working on this portion. As you can see how she's shaving that down. Now too, later she may decide just to go ahead and run that stick through there and again pare the skin down. That's basically what you're doing here, is paring the skin down. You can use a scalpel blade, a knife blade, a special paring knife that they have, which has razor blade inserts in there that'll do the same thing. Now, a reasonable thinness around here, you shave it down to basically where you do start to see the hair roots. If you go down much lower than that and you pare it down any thinner, and if you actually do cut the hair roots, you will cause hair slippage. Those particular hairs will fall out. So that's why you have to use a little bit of common sense and good judgment. But you can see how much we're paring this down. We don't worry about the actual skin leaving a 1/4 inch long or an 1/8 inch long piece of skin to tuck down by the eyelids. We use a different mounting procedure where we actually lay the skin against the clay or epoxy that whichever one we choose to go ahead and model in the eyes with, and it works out much better that way. It's faster, it's quicker, it's more accurate, the customer's happier, and everything just goes along so much finer. But you can see how she's just fleshing this down. And that's what you do. You take your time. Now once you build confidence, you can work quickly like Patricia's doing. And she's good at it, she's quick, and she knows what she's doing. And the only way you can get that way is if you practice. You can talk about it, you can read books, you can watch movies, but until you actually do it, you won't appreciate it. But it's something, again, that must be done no matter what animal you're working with. Now you can see all that she's already accumulated there. All those shavings, just from around the nasal area and the eye area. You can use different objects too to go ahead and fortify the skin behind the area where you're shaving. It can be a gourd. I've seen people use light bulbs. I've seen people use small little balls, tennis balls, footballs, devices that are made for this. You can purchase from taxidermy studios, taxidermy supply companies. You can manufacture your own. Most taxidermists, what they do, they make a variety of different fleshing beams and fleshing devices to go ahead and prop the skin up on and shave it. Here you can see her shaving this here now. Again, now she's back on a tear duct. Again, you just get a reasonable thinness around there. There's no sense going micro thin, but some people like it that way. But you do have to get it thin down to the hair roots, usually. Just back up by the eye. Notice how she's taking her time between the eye and the tear duct right below there, because you do have some long hairs that protrude through there. You have to be careful that you do not cut now she's on the other eye. This is the same procedure that she done on the other one. Could you go ahead and take a moment and show everybody that other eye that you just finished? Because there's no sense in them watching this here again and again. It's the same procedure, right? I want everyone to take a good look at that. See how that's shaved down around there? How thin that is? Now just flip that over on the other side. Yeah. Let's just see that right there, what that looks like, so you can show how nice and limber and everything there. See, now this skin, once this shaving's done, we go ahead and we make any repairs we have to, any holes that's been cut, and then we can go ahead and cream tan it, or go ahead and run it through our regular Lutan F tanning system. There it is. This is how you do it. Fine tuning. It's very important.